All right, so here's the scoop. This guy went from this to this to this to this to this over the course of 2.5 years, and now he is being accused on Reddit of being a fake natural. Now, I find this entire situation to be fascinating for a number of reasons, including the expectations that some people have, and when you surpass those expectations, suddenly it's just impossible to achieve naturally. Muscle insertions, genetics, rate of muscular progress, how much newbie gains can factor into this. There are a lot of interesting things about this situation. So first, let's look at his journey and the comments that he has received from Redditors along the way. I will link all these threads down below so you can check them out in full if you want. They're actually pretty entertaining and a very interesting view of what the average person thinks about these kinds of transformations. So he started out at a fairly high body fat percentage, 6 feet tall, which is the same height as me, which will be an interesting comparison, 235 pounds, which is, it's high. It's higher than I've ever been, and it is definitely a higher body fat percentage than I would recommend. So he cut, which was the right move to do, and he went all the way down to 151 pounds.
Farewell.
Now, you might be thinking, well, he doesn't look 151 pounds and 6 feet tall in the right-hand picture, but this is because this is a very good picture. Lighting is good, angle is good. I think he has a pump as well, he said. And so this picture is like the best picture that he could have. And I started out at actually 150-ish pounds, the exact same weight as him before I started lifting. And if you compare my initial starting point to his point after a year, same height, you can see they're actually fairly similar. The exception would be the delts. He has exceptional deltoids, and you'll see this is a big factor later on, whereas I have a little bit of delt, but this is before I lifted weights. I actually had fairly big legs, not big, but like, big compared to my upper body, and so this is where the weight difference is. He has very, very good bodybuilding genetics. He has those rounded shoulders, very, very good muscle insertions, and this is genetic. Some people might look at this and think drugs. I look at this and I think genetics. Are steroids going to preferentially develop some areas? Maybe, but it's not necessarily a slam dunk in terms of, if I see this, it means this. I mean, look at my traps. Some people will see these traps and just think, hey, that's trend. No, okay? It's genetics and it's intelligent training for that area over the course of many years. And I would put him at roughly 11% body fat. And if you put that into an FFMI calculator, which is just a measure of overall muscularity, you get 18-ish FFMI, which is roughly where most people start. And most of the comments in that initial Reddit post were very, very positive and very, very supportive. He then went on a gaining phase, a bulk, a lean bulk, whatever you want to call it. Not maintaining, not main gaining, a proper lean bulk, and he put on 16 pounds. So he went up to 167 pounds, and you can see the results here. Now you can see, obviously, the shoulders are still on point. He still has that capped look. But again, this is going to be a lot of genetics. Arms on point. He's not as lean. He didn't lean out. He didn't get any leaner. He didn't even maintain the same body fat percentage. He put on a little bit of fat. You can see a little bit of love handles, not much, but a little bit there. And then there's a little bit of a lack of definition in the midsection. Obviously, he's not fat by any means, but he has put on a little bit of body fat. And this kind of mirrors my own initial newbie gains. I gained 9 kilos, about 20 pounds in the first, drumroll please, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months, I went from 68 kilos to 77 kilos, and then a couple months more, I gained 3 more kilos. So if you chuck in 167 pounds at 13% body fat, he is now almost 20 FFMI, and he's about almost a year and a half into his total journey. That is very, very reasonable in terms of expectations. And at this point, most people are still like, good job, but there are a few people who are like, hey, drugs. Alright, now fast forward another few months. He is up to 175 pounds, and he made this post. And this is where things get spicy. Not saucy, but spicy. Now the majority of the comments just think he's a straight up fake natural. I don't think there's anyone. There were a few people who were like, maybe, but most people said, no, this is not possible naturally. One comment said, these sort of posts really irritate me because it leads kids to think that this sort of transformation is possible in a short time naturally. No judgment if you're juiced, it would be just nice to see some honesty. Stop claiming Natty, the capped shoulders and time frame speaks for itself. That's a typical trend build, flat chest, shoulders, traps, etc., and wear your mask properly. Yeah, it says it all. But most of these people don't realize that this picture has fucking god tier lighting. Okay, this is the perfect lighting where you have that down lighting. It highlights the shoulders, the traps, the chest definition while hiding any accumulated fat, especially if you're like that. I mean, you're not going to see any fat. He sent me another picture from this time. Kind of different, right? Doesn't quite look the same. And I would put him at closer to 15% body fat. A lot of people think he's shredded just because with lighting and a pump they see a delt vein. That doesn't mean you're shredded, okay? And I would put him at 15% body fat, 175 pounds, 6 feet tall. That is just over 20 fat-free mass index. You could say maybe he's 14%, maybe he's 13%, but he's still well under 21 fat-free mass index. And now we're at 2.5 years. He is up to 182 pounds, obviously still 6 feet tall. The delts are on point, but they've always been. They've always been on point, right? Like, that is absolutely top 1% delt genetics. Derek would be proud. But he hasn't stayed shredded the whole time, okay? I would say here he's like around 15% body fat. Some people might see abs and think he's 10%. No, that's not how it works. He's closer to the mid-teens. And if you look at this through the FFMI, he is now, let's say he's 16% body fat. He is now around 21 FFMI. And actually, a few interesting things. He asked me to assess his body fat percentage all the way back in April 2021. And he sent me these pictures where the lighting is a little bit more, I don't want to say honest, but a little bit less favorable, I would say. And I assessed him at 16 to 18%, maybe 15%. And guess what? He said, by the way, I bought your training book and it literally shits on anything has put out. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, my book is so good, it'll get you fake Natty accusation type of results, but that's exactly what fucking happened. It's $20, you can get it on my website. No guarantees for any results, but like, this is literally what happened. And the comments are fascinating. From fat ass to fake Natty, shameless fake Natty, you got exposed so many times and yet you still look for attention. Absolutely insane. You're not special, you just take PEDs. Well, my book is sort of a performance enhancing. It's not a drug, but it's very much performance enhancing. Man, just delete this post. It's embarrassing. You're not natural at all. And anytime he defends himself, he's just downvoted into oblivion.
I'm afraid your journey ends here, traveler.
Reddit is fucking pathetic. You get these people who they get shit results, and therefore anyone who gets better results than them is automatically on the drugs. And you can't just look at a certain muscle group and think, oh, it's big, therefore they must be a fake natural. You have to look at the overall physique and their amount of muscle mass as well as their progression. Now, his progression is obviously, it's been very, very impressive, but if you look at his overall amount of mass for 2.5 years of training, it's not crazy. I actually find this interesting because we are the exact same height. We're both 6 feet tall. And this is me after around 2.5 to 3 years of lifting. And actually, I'm around 189 to 200 pounds in these pictures at roughly the same amount of leanness. So when I see his results, I don't find them to be that crazy. Obviously, the shoulders are absolutely on point, But if you look at everything, the amount of lean mass that he has, I don't find it to be that crazy. And so when I hear these Redditors automatically thinking this is a fake natural transformation, it's kind of pathetic. Steroid accusations are kind of an interesting thing, because the more you defend yourself, the more it looks like you're a fake natural. So if everyone's like, you're a fake natural, no, I'm not. Like, I have good genetics, and I worked really hard, and I had a really good book, and really, like, all the resources at my disposal. People are like, nah, that's exactly what someone on drugs would say. And it is exactly what someone on drugs would say, but it's also exactly what someone not on drugs would say as well. So would I bet my life that he is natural? No. Would I bet my life that he is not natural? Also no, because there's no way to tell 100%, okay? It's something that, yeah, in some cases you can be pretty sure, but you'll never know 100% of the time, especially if it's in that gray area. And I would say these results are extremely impressive, but they're by no means a slam dunk for anabolic usage. Are there a lot of fake naturals out there? Yeah, there are. I think it's getting better, and people are more open about it because that's a viable way to go, and there's less stigma attached to it. But the bad part is that this makes everyone think, or at least some people think, that like everyone is on drugs, and you can't develop an impressive physique naturally. And if you make fast progress, it means you're a fake natural, and if you have a delt vein or cap delts or like big traps or whatever, you are automatically a fake natural, and that is absolutely not the case. Raise your expectations of what is possible naturally. So I don't know who moderates this shit show of a subreddit, but it looks like you probably owe someone an apology. And if you use the right lighting, the right angles, you have a great frame, you have a pump, you are going to look way bigger than you actually are, and more impressive than you actually are in person. And this is one of those things where a lot of people don't understand this. They don't understand that, hey, it's just one picture, and, it's flexing, it's posing, etc., and maybe these results are actually reasonable. And one of the many downsides of steroids becoming very prolific is that some people will think that everything is steroids. Any decent transformation just has to be roids. And the trouble is, you're going to be right a lot of the time, but a lot of the time you're going to miss as well. And a lot of people in these Reddit threads missed. Big time. Hey Reddit, you gonna accuse me of being a fake natural as well? Huh? Right? Like, look at all that. Look at all that man meat. No way. You could do this without taking the drugs. Anyway, I will leave the 4 Reddit posts in the description below. Feel free to peruse them and call some people idiots. Not saying you should do that, but like, it would be funny if that happened. You can also grab a copy of my book. I'm not saying it's going to get you these kind of results. I'm not saying, especially in the deltoid region, it's going to cause this kind of explosive growth, but I can promise that you're going to learn a lot, and it will absolutely help to maximize your progress in the gym. It is $20 Runos, which coincidentally is 10 times cheaper than a certain other content creator's book that it apparently shits on. That is all. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Bye.